Hi everybody, welcome back. We have had a busy 3 or 4 days. This video is going to be a lot about the process of receiving our lumber and getting it up to a working level where we can finally start working on it. And hopefully by the end of the video, I'll have shared with you all of the touch points in the process and all the pain points and all the ways that we fixed it in the last 3 or 4 days. So first, let's just jump back and finish some of the cleanup and organization that we were doing at the end of the last video. And then we'll jump back here and start talking about process, touch points, pain points, and improvement. I've got the far edge to finish, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do that right now because I've also got the lumber from yesterday that I have to sort. Okay, I got all 20 loaded in. I didn't sticker these last 5 because they got a couple of them had some pretty serious warp in them. So with a heavy board on top, I'm hoping I can pull that warp out of it over a few weeks. Anyway, good storage. I'm really surprised at the good storage solution that just popped out of nowhere here. So this is good. Got to keep going. A few more minutes before lunch. It's still cooking hot here. B is with me again, but we've got beautiful, beautiful shade from the scaffolding structure above us. So this is pretty fantastic. And there's a constant breeze blowing up the mountain from the ocean, and it's pretty cooling. I think, like many regular viewers, I'm pretty anxious to get started with the cutting of the lumber and building of the house. That's what this season is all about. That's what this actually not just the YouTube season, that's what this fall winter season is all about. I'm in the middle of September now, and I want to have a roof on a frame by January 1st, by the end of the year. So I'm really anxious to get started with the lumber works. But there's so many little things that have to happen before then. And that's what I'm, building this working deck is one of the biggest things. And there are many more. Fixing the mountain escalator, making it more bulletproof, making it safe. There's a whole bunch of things. So I just want to talk very briefly about process. There is definitely a process gap here in bringing material up to the mountain, into the working area, up to the assembly area. And I've been thinking about this for literally months on how to do it. Wow, This roll was sitting in the dirt for the last 2 years, and these things are now all over me. And these look like the biting kind. I don't really expect this to be a great water barrier. And I don't even know if I'm gonna tape down this seam, but I just want something over top of that wood, some level of extra protection to keep the rainwater off. Man, I got ants all over me now. Oh. I had one viewer mention recently that he appreciated that I showed the picking up, cleaning up, and organizing of materials in the videos, because that's so much of the work of these DIY sessions. And my response was, frankly, sometimes I wouldn't have any video content if I wasn't filming me picking up, because he's absolutely right. It's just a huge amount of time and effort in just staying on top of your organization and your site. And even though I pick up every chance I get, every time I look around, I just see another mess. So I'm gonna try to make a little. And when I put the drone up there and I look, it's embarrassing, all of the detritus hanging around my site. But you pick it up, you clean it up, you organize it, and then 1 week later, a whole new mess appears. Anyway, I'm going to make my way down the path here and just pick and clean and just do a little getting organized. Oh, I tell you, that is nasty business. Deep in the canopy, in essentially still the middle of summer, for all the creepy crawlies in there, I am disturbing their homeland, and they are out in force. My God, the number of ants on those trees. I didn't see any centipedes this time, but I'm sure ticks are all over me. I was talking with William in the comments section about ticks recently. I hate ticks. They're not considered, I don't know, a danger. There's no reported cases of Lyme disease in Japan, ever. And in Canada, people are dying from it. People are killing themselves from being so distraught from the effects of Lyme disease. And here it's like, oh, well, yeah, it ticks, yeah, they're out there. Jesus. Anyway, I got this space cleared. And now, I could put up a galvanized pipe scaffolding system. I could easily create a platform right here for transitioning wood. I don't know. It's I gotta still think this through. I've got to stop hand bombing wood. Okay, the process has to include no hand bombing of wood, because these 2x6s that I was moving around today, that's the maximum weight and size that I can effectively manage on my own. And those are the smallest pieces of wood I've got for this whole build. Those are the tiny ones. So I cannot have hand bombing wood anywhere in the process. Anyway, yeah, I'm beat. Ooh, it's just pushing 3 o'clock. Imie's back tomorrow, so I still have one more day of batching, me and Bee, even though Bee's a girl. I had a beer last night when I went home because it felt so good. Tonight, yeah, I think I may just have a beer. Thanks for hanging around, everybody. See you tomorrow. Okay, I said I wanted to talk about process, and that is the process for receiving my lumber. Okay, we're about to start cutting lumber for the house that will sit on that foundation right up there. And I'm starting to receive lumber now. I've already received 2 loads of it, and they are sitting down at road level still and at lower parking level 1. And I'm going to receive more before I have a chance to cut and use the stuff that I've already received. So we're starting to get it in, and I've got to be able to receive the lumber and park it somewhere or use it. Okay, so when we talk about process, that's what I'm going to talk about today: the touch points in the process and the pain points in the process. Looks like the rain is rolling in a little bit sooner than expected. The typhoon has changed course, and so today is Saturday. It's supposed to be affecting us now from this afternoon until Monday, and by Monday it'll be off in Shanghai area. In just 5 minutes, Oshima Island has disappeared. So that rain is rolling in. Okay, well, we've got a strange mixture of rain and sun right now. The forecast says it's not going away, the rain. I don't know what to believe. Underneath my scaffolding, yeah, I mean, there's a ton of holes and gaps in the scaffolding up above, so obviously it's leaking, lots of drips. But where I put that house wrap, just one row of house wrap above these 2x6s, they're dry. There's not a single drip under there. So I may house wrap the whole top of this thing. Now, as I walk on it, I'm going to rip it and tear it and stuff. So definitely a temporary fix. But, you know, if it gives me a month of dryness down here, it's probably worth it. Deck at the top of the mountain escalator. I haven't cleaned it up perfectly, but I have cleaned it up enough to see that I can still stack a lot of lumber there. So that's going to be kind of my, I don't know, my second stage. After the road, that's going to be where I'm going to stack a lot of lumber. I really don't want to keep anything stacked and sitting down at road level. It's just, I mean, there's not much theft in Japan. It's not a big concern, but I just don't want to tempt fate. So I'm going to plan to stack a whole bunch of lumber down there. This area right here, this big slope in front of these two cypress or cedar trees. I was talking earlier about building another scaffolding structure there to make a nice level area. I still may do that, but I don't have the supplies right now to do it. It might make things handy. This is wacky weather. Anyway, it has stopped raining. We got some blue sky over on Oshima again. Who knows? We'll see how long it lasts. Last week my architect sent me a note. He wants to know about the elevation difference. We did some measurements beforehand, right after it was poured, but he just wanted to confirm. So I'm going to do some measurements actually what I'm going to do is draw out a staircase on this face right here. Because we will have a staircase from the first level where I'm standing to the second level. I'm going to make some assumptions about the stair height and depth and draw it out. Okay, we got quick math here. We've got 117 centimeter rise from the bottom first level to the second level, which equals 46.1 inches. If I want to have a 7-inch rise, then that gives me 6.6 steps. So we raise that to 7 steps, and therefore with 7 steps the rise reduces to 6.7 inches, which is 17 centimeters. Okay, the first touch point in the process happens at road level. Okay, this here we're looking at the mountain escalator loading dock. Around the bend is the lower parking area. In the last video or 2 videos ago, you saw me receiving lumber at both of these locations. It's fairly straightforward to receive at both locations. Down here, we just hand bomb it off the truck onto the loading dock, and over at the parking area, we generally use the excavator to pick it off the truck and bring it up to the parking area. There are no pain points over at the lower parking area. The pain points exist right here on the escalator. And if you watch the last video, you will have seen loads almost crashing out, bumping into trees, that type of thing. So this is a pain point, this mountain escalator. It's a very effective system, but it's a pain point also in the process. And I'm going to correct it. know, those branches look pretty thin and frail from down here. But up there, they're pretty big. A whack from one of those would be painful. Well, I think I gotta call it. I can't. There's two major branches, two main cuts that still have to be made before I can take down the tree itself. And I just cannot reach those two cuts. So what I'm going to do is I have the process now. It's just a matter of getting the Yumbo down here, keeping the ladder down here, and getting my gear on. It hasn't beat me. We'll get it. Whether we bring the lumber up via the mountain escalator or up via the excavator from the lower parking level, this is the next touch point in the process. This is where we can store lumber, we can place lumber here. I could even work on lumber here if I had space. But this is where we will get, this is the next touch point. And this was dirty, crowded, disorganized, and we got to fix that. Okay, so from the first touch point at road level to the second touch point at the landing level, we get to our third touch point, which is at the working level. Okay, and level is a key phrase here, because each of these areas is a different elevation, a higher elevation than the one before it. So the pain point up here, first let's talk about the touch point. The touch point up here is we have to get lumber up here, and then we have to cut it and prepare it to be assembled on the foundation. Okay, so this is supposed to be a working area. But the lumber I receive, the lumber I'm using is so big. None of this is 2x4, some of it's 2x6. None of this is 2x4 lumber. Okay, this is huge 6x6 posts and beams. Okay, very, very heavy, impossible for a single person to move around. So the touch point here is getting the lumber up here and working on it. The pain point is getting lumber up here and moving it around. Okay, so I talked in the last video about a new kind of deck area right in front of these two cedar trees. Well, let's clean. Right now it's clean, but let me show you the cleanup process, and then we'll get into the building of that deck. I don't know if you heard me muttering, I can't do it to myself. Just a little while ago, but I was wrong. I can do it, of course. I will do it. If somebody has done it before me, I can do it. I'm just gonna take lunch first. Maybe have a sleep in the hammock. Well, it's definitely not pretty, and it's not tied down and secured yet. But the functionality of it seems to be there. It's like an orange treehouse. Well, I know the platform itself is plenty strong. Those 4x4s are over-engineered for sure. But I'm worried about the scaffolding. I think I'm going to put a couple of these screw supports under the center of it and screw them in tight and leave them there for the next year or so while I'm using this. Yeah, if I put something in under the center, it'll take some, it'll take some of the bounce away. We pick from the landing zone 1 and we place up here, and hopefully we place like right on there. I think I'm still going to be doing a lot of hand bombing. So I mentioned that the touch point, the third touch point in the process is up here at working level. This is where I'm supposed to be cutting my lumber, cutting the joinery for it, and preparing it for assembly. Assembly takes place up there. We do not have, outside of the excavator, today we do not have an efficient, effective process for getting the lumber off of this working level up to the assembly level and the foundation level itself. So I'm going to share with you something related to that. So I stumbled upon this website. It's called The Project-Based Lifestyle, and it's a builder. I think the fellow is a former furniture builder, and he also does, obviously, construction. And he has built this crane. It's called a stiff leg derrick, and he's using it here for lifting posts and beams and logs for, I think, his son's cabin build that they're working on. And this stiff leg derrick is it seems to be an ingenious work of what he calls redneck engineering. But it's 2 spruce poles consisting of the angled derrick and the straight mast. Okay, the angled derrick is on the right, which is now lifting a log, and the mast is on the left, or kind of towards the left, with a line attached to it. There are also 2 support poles off to the left that help to support the mast. Now, the functionality of this crane is twofold. They lift with 2 winches, 1 winch attached to each pole. The winch on the mast controls the boom, and the winch on the boom controls the lift. Let's look at some of the parts of this lift. Here you can see the 2 winches attached to the derrick and the mast, and there's the footing for the whole thing. It's just a round piece of pipe with the round spruce tree in it. There's the winch on the mast, and there's the winch on the derrick. And these winches are operated by drills, and they're worm wheel drives. So when you're operating them, they move, and when you're not operating them, they don't move. Here's a little bit of imagery about the support system. I probably don't, well, I definitely will not have room for a truck to support mine, so I have to reconfigure that, think about that a little bit. But if I do this, this will be an amazing assistant on the work site. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Okay, so I'm really excited. We've managed to cover all of the pain points in the lumber receiving process, and we've managed to fix all of the pain points in the lumber receiving process. Now, just this morning, our lumber guys have arrived, and we have a chance to put it all to the test. Right now, we just saw unloading the lumber at road level, mountain escalator side. Now we're going to see unloading road level, lower driveway side.明日になりますね。明日雨は、まあ、もう雨の確率はゼロに、まあ、10% になりましたので大丈夫になります。
じゃあ午後からちょっと遅くなっちゃうので電話しますもん。
あ、OK。午後でも平気です。全然平気です。
午後っていうか3時。
3時頃？OK。はい。As I noted earlier, the biggest pain point at this part of the process was the tree that was right here. And you see that the tree that is no longer there. So Aimee and Aimee's here with me today. We're going to go up to the top now. We're going to set up a camera down here to watch it. Aimee's going to watch it from the top, and we're going to see if we can have a successful winch pull. Okay, the first pain point, as I've said, is in the mountain escalator when we winch the load up from the loading dock down below to the landing zone right here. Now there are several things that were in play the last time. Some things viewers noticed and gave me feedback on, and some things that I noticed because things didn't work properly. So we've taken out the tree down below, and we have upgraded the sled to longer runners and higher platform. So raising it above where the dirt could catch it, and having a longer, carriage, I guess. So we think those two fixes on the sled are good. One thing that we've done up here is we've added a prusik knot right here. And the goal of this is if we get into a situation, we hook this very quickly to the chain and the cable around the tree. And this will hold, the prusik knot, I've learned, will lock and hold the load, so I can turn off the winch, disconnect, whatever, and the load will still be held in place. Okay, kind of a safety brake device. Thank you for the viewers who mentioned this to me. So with this in play, let's start up the winch and get the pulling. Touch point number 3 is transferring the wood from this landing zone here to that upper bird's nest. When I'm up there, I'm sure I'm going to forget the name, but what we want to do is a pick and place operation. And you know, we've minimized the amount of hands-on work that we're doing, but I can't eliminate it. So we had to use our hands to load it onto the sled. We used our hands to load it off of the sled onto this little carrier situation here. And I'm not sure if I'm going to use the carrier or not, but ultimately what we have to do is pick the lumber up off of this area and load it up onto into the bird's nest. So that's the operation. Okay, I think it's safe to say that the pick and place from the landing zone to the bird's nest, the new deck, worked. A couple of things we need to tweak. We need a guy line prepared and ready to have on there. And if I'm working with Aimee, we need to have her managing that. And also the orientation of the posts shouldn't be sitting on the bird's nest stand like that. We want them perpendicular to the stand, or running this way anyway. The next part of the process, the next pain point, is another pick and place from, we obviously we move the wood into the working area, we work it, we cut all the joinery that's needed, all the mortises and or tenons, and then we move it out here. So the next pick and place operation is from this working level up onto the first floor and the scaffolding deck. So, and I've already shared with you the derrick boom or derrick lift idea. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I don't know how much engineering will be required to form the metal brackets that are needed to do that, but it looks pretty sweet, doesn't it? So I think we've nailed it. We've got let me just summarize. We've got the road delivery, no problem. We've got the offloading onto the loading dock below, no problem, or onto the lower parking area on the other around the bend, no problem. We've got loading onto the sled, no problem. We've got using the winch and the mountain escalator working flawlessly. We've got then a pick and place from the landing zone deck to the bird's nest deck sorted. And then we have envisioned the final pick and place from the working area up to the assembly area. So I think this process is perfect. He says with confidence, knowing that it's going to be tweaked and tweaked and tweaked. That's it, folks. I'm pretty excited. I think we can finally, we're going to move a bunch of lumber over the next couple of days, and using this flawless process, we're going to move all the lumber as much as possible off of the road and up here, and we're going to stack it by usage, by when we need it and where we need it, and when we have to cut it, we'll stack it, we'll prepare it, then we'll start working. And I hope as soon as the very next video, we're actually working on the lumber for the timber frame house. Stay with me, please, and let's enjoy this ride together. Bye now.